pop stars. Welcome to this latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment pop culture news. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
And how you been, Tammy? It's been a moment.
Has it? I mean, it's funny because we talk every week, but I think we used to talk way more when we actually worked in close quarters to each other. So I guess that's the minute. It's it's been a minute since we really saw each other's face. Oh God, when was the last time we actually saw each other, Eddie? It's like we still quarantined.
It's been a while. It's been a while because normally, when we were at the same place, of course, we saw each other every day. Then we would make it a point to go have dinner at least once or twice a month. We need to get back into that.
Oh, I'm saying it right now that for our next show, which is our ultimate movie series that we love together, we're going to the movies together.
Okay, cool.
I'm putting that out there right now, y'all. Y'all heard me first. She said, okay. That means she has to come.
Oh well, shit. Okay, we can work that out when we finish this because did you accept my invitation on the thing?
Oh, I canceled my account, right? I didn't tell you that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to the movies as much. I'm sorry, y'all. We having a whole personal conversation. But I wasn't going to the movies as much as I could when I first got it. And so I was like, oh, I'll take a pause. But do you know what a pause is for them? Do you know once you can't? And I didn't realize this until right before I canceled it, when I already set my mind to it. So if you cancel, we're talking about the AMC A-list membership. When you cancel your AMC A-list membership, you have to wait 6 months before you can sign up again.
Oh, shit.
They freeze you out for 6 months. And I was just and by the time I read that, I was like, my mind's already set. I'm canceling this. And so I canceled. I was just like, oh, well, that's 6 months. So, but then I realized the last time I went to the movies was it Ant-Man? I think it was Ant-Man. No, Creed. I went to go see Creed in theater, but other than that, I used to go 2 times a week, but I just don't go enough. But I have to get back into it because starting April, that's when movie season really picks up. All the movies that they were doing during quarantine, they start to come out back to back to back starting in April. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, every time. Well, this is news. This is part of the rewind. It's unofficially started. Yeah, every time I think about canceling it, I do the cost and the cost. Look at me, sound like an economics person. I do the cost benefit analysis, and so I realized that monthly fee is pretty much what you would pay for one movie. So even if I just go once a month, like now, then that covers the cost of the movie because the popcorn and by the time you get snacks and all that shit, that's a whole nother movie. So I was like, all right, at least it takes a little bit off. So every time I think, because I'm like you, every time I think about canceling, I'm like, nah, I'd rather have it. That way I don't have to come off $20 every time I go to the movies or an additional $20 because you're coming off a grip to get the snacks and stuff, but so well, we'll figure it out after this. Okay, so that was the unofficial start, but the official start. Speaking of the movie series that we love so much, sad news has rocked Hollywood these last 48 hours. One of my favorite actors, a great actor, character actor, Lance Reddick, who plays the concierge or concierge. My French is terrible. My non-existent French. And the John Wick series has passed away. He passed away at the age of 60. It was really rather unexpected. Just a couple of days ago, he was honored and he was on social media. So R.I.P. Rest in power. He was great. He was in everything, all the series I loved. Oz, The Wire, Bosch, just the John Wick series. He was just all over the place and a great actor. And whenever you saw him, you knew he was going to be playing a no nonsense, in your face type of mug. So, yeah, we lost a real one with that. So, yeah. So I got some, turning the page to politics really quick. Word on the streets is your boy gonna be arrested finally next week
Why is he always
and
my
indicted. Huh?
Why he always my boy? Because I mean, I guess because his state is closer to my state than your state, but
yeah, that's your homeboy. Because, well, technically he ruined Atlantic City, and that is in Jersey, right?
It is in Jersey.
Like,
he did destroy the momentum of it. Yeah.
The only motherfucker I know that could bankrupt the fucking casino. Like, you and I could run a casino and not know shit about it and still make some money. Cause, like, yeah. But so word on the streets is he's going to be indicted finally. I'm not sure which of the cases. I'm thinking they're saying that it's probably the hush money porn star case. That's going to be first up. They haven't really said. The district attorney in Georgia hasn't made a final decision yet, but just the leaks from the people who were on the grand jury, them commenting on things that they probably shouldn't be commenting on at this moment. Yeah, they're saying that they recommended that he be indicted, probably that you should probably throw his ass up under the jail. So we will see what happens in that. I'm at the point now, I don't know about you, I'll see it when I believe it. I can't even get excited about it. I'm just like, I'll believe it when it happens,
It is what it is at this point.
Yeah. But I guess he thinks it's a badge of honor, but he went on his social media platform, The Truth Social, which I think is the most ironic name. He wouldn't know the truth that, if someone paid him $1 billion to tell it just for an hour. Look, here, we'll give you $1 billion if everything that comes out of your mouth over the next hour is the absolute truth. Do you think he would walk away, come out of that hour with $1 billion?
Yes, because they wouldn't know what is true and what is false.
I don't think so. I don't think he would. You have more faith in him than I do. I don't think he could make it a whole hour.
He would tell the truth. I said that he would be able to steamroll them into giving him his money.
Oh, well, see, if you're like that, you have to go in knowing what's already true and false, I think. And just taking a quick turn in, since we're here, his boy, DeSantis, the court, I know, but this one is actually interesting. The courts, the 11th Circuit Appeals Court, which is the circuit court for that Florida area, southeastern area, they upheld a challenge or a temporary injunction against that stupid, I call it the Keep Florida Stupid bill, but it's that Don't Say Woke or that whatever the stupid name is, saying, one judge is quoted saying that the bill is utterly dystopian. And I didn't realize, as I was doing more research with the bill, and just how all encompassing it was. It wasn't just going after like college courses, but it would have gotten rid of like all minority unions, like the BSU Black Student Union, Asian Student Union, Latino Student Union, whatever. All of those types of groups would have been affected in associations, on top of classes like African American history, Latino history, Asian history, whatever. All of those classes, as well as all the organizations and fraternities. So they would have gotten rid of all of the sororities and fraternities. So there would have been no more Divine Nine in Florida, no more Asian American fraternities or Latino fraternities. Like, it was going after it all. So, and I kind of wonder if it would have included like do you think it would have included professional groups? Like, say, the Black Doctors Association, African American Orthodontist Association, or so. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but just groups like that. Do you think they would have been targeted, or was it?
To be honest, the only ones who were really targeted were, because they were only going to enforce it against the Black groups. So no matter what they say about the minority groups, the only one that was going to be targeted was the African American groups.
Yeah. So thankfully, well, and I guess it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and who knows what this fucking court would decide. But yeah, so for now there's a temporary injunction on that. And then I'll say that's going to be the palate cleanser. I have a good palate cleanser, like a 2-for-1 palate cleanser. So and then the North Dakota Supreme Court struck down an abortion law which would have criminalized abortion, because a lot of states now are trying to turn it into a death penalty thing, a capital offense which is punishable by the death penalty, even as the ramifications for Texas law becomes more clear and you have more women nearly dying, and the maternal mortality rate in the United States in the year of 2023 with all of this great technology is the highest it's been since 1965. So go for it for what you will. And California, they canceled out Walgreens' contract with the state because of their stance on selling the pills. So it's just a lot going on in the world of politics. And yeah, but it is what it is at this point, I guess, like you said. Did you hear about the banking crisis?
We are not going to talk about that.
Why? You don't keep your money in the bank? You're not
Yes, the bank? I have no mindset to have a conversation about the banking crisis.
Fine. You're one of those people who keeps your money under your mattress, aren't you?
I keep my money in the bank, but I don't have the intelligence to be having a conversation about the banking crisis and what happened to Silicon Valley or whatever.
The Silicon Valley Bank. Well, it was pretty bad. Huh?
Well, yeah, but that's just not my wheelhouse.
It's not your wheelhouse. Okay. I can respect that. So, well, I know what is in your wheelhouse is the Sussexes were finally invited to the coronation. Do you think they should go?
No. Okay, but here's the reason why I don't feel that they should go. They're going to take all the shine away from King Charles III. Like, nobody is going to be focusing on this dude's coronation. Nobody is going to be focusing on, oh shit, I just blanked out on his name, William and Kate. They're all going to be focusing on Harry and Meghan. And I think part of the reason why I think they really considered not inviting them, but at the end of the day, you have to invite them, as a courtesy. But I'm sure they're hoping and secretly praying that they don't show up. And that if he does show up, he doesn't show up with her.
Well, first of all, I don't think that he would do that he would go without her.
He wouldn't.
I should hope that he wouldn't. Second of all, I kind of agree, but here's the thing: it just depends on how petty I felt, if I would go or not. Because everything you mentioned, those are not me problems; those would be you problems. And I get it, and I probably wouldn't go just for the simple fact that I don't want to spend the week being a bigger target of abuse for the British media if I were her. I wouldn't want to put myself through that. It's like it comes to a point where I think we overdosed on the what Michelle Obama says: when they go low, you go high. It's like, why would I purposely put myself in that line of fire trying to prove a point that I'm a bigger, better person? We already know that. But on the other hand, if they do go, it was stated from the beginning, it would kind of be like at the Queen's last Jubilee, how they were with the secondary royals, or quote unquote the minor royals, they wouldn't be on the balcony. But I agree. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Like I said,
it doesn't matter where they are.
It doesn't matter, and here's the thing: it's a no-win situation, because as petty as the fucking British media is, they would, if they don't go, they're going to talk. If they do go, they're going to talk. So it's just a matter of what you would think or what they decide to do. Part of it, huh?
I changed my mind, but go ahead. Finish your thought.
You think they should go?
Yes.
Why?
So one reason why I think they should go is to stick it to them, right? But also because it's his family. And I think ultimately she would put herself through the media and everything like that because he would want to go. Like, I think deep down, just like on the feelings that I get, just watching him and hearing, him in interviews and everything like that, he's still very, very hurt. But at the same time, that's his family. It's been his family for 38 years. And so I think he would want to be involved in the coronation of his father, something that they have been looking towards, for decades. And so I can see them showing up. I can see them trying to be as small of a presence as they possibly can be. But for certain things, you're not going to be able to put him in the background. Like he's literally the second son. Like you're not going to be able to put him in the background. But I would go just because I think that Harry would really want to go. And the only reason why he wouldn't go is because he wouldn't want to put Meghan through that. So the question is Meghan willing to go through the media frenzy of it all in order to satisfy, her husband's desire to be there for a huge moment in his father's life? Because at the end of the day, that is his father.
Yeah, and I get that. And it goes back to, from the personal standpoint, and I'm not even going to ask, I'm just going to assume you haven't read Sphere yet or you haven't finished it, right?
Yeah.
You get that. Like he tries really hard, even though he knows that they're one and the same, to separate the institution from his family. He could do without the institution, but he loves his family dearly. And from the standpoint of that is his dad, no matter what their relationship is, I agree with you. It's a big moment in your father's life, and you would want to be there to see that. So from that standpoint, yes. Just from the personal, I would say yes. But from all the other bullshit, because even though it is your dad and your parent, your only surviving living parent who should do everything he could to protect you, that's not going to happen. So it's like you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Is it worth being there to celebrate that moment with him? Is it worth the bullshit? And like you said, it's a no-win situation. Like, because I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly when you said, if they don't go, she's going to be to blame, because you can see it now. She couldn't, what was it, knuckle up or buckle up and just deal with the press for the 48 hours or however long they would be in England and come back to, she was too much of a baby to deal with that. So it's again a no-win situation if they go or if they don't go.
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Huh?
I'd be surprised if they didn't go.
I would too. I really would. And on the other hand, and then of course you could also see, oh, how dare they not show up after their children were granted the titles or bestowed the titles that were technically theirs the moment Queen Elizabeth passed away. They were titled. And so, but officially now the palace is using the titles Prince Harry, Prince Archie, and Princess Lilibet. So, that would be something else that they would just have to see or deal with if they didn't go. How dare they? The nerve.
Oh we have American royals, y'all.
We do.
Who grow up with American accents.
Yes. Be like, Dad, chips are potato chips. No, those are crisps. No, Dad, they're potato chips. Chip fries, these are French fries, not chips. You know, a cookie is a cookie, not a biscuit. So what do they call actual biscuits in England? Huh. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to
I
I'm
watched
gonna
the
have to
video on you. I watched the video on YouTube on the different English words of Canada, Australia, Great Britain, and America. And that's where I found out that all cookies, except for the chocolate chip cookie, is called a biscuit. I didn't know that.
What's the chocolate chip cookie then?
They call that a cookie. Like if it's a chocolate chip cookie, it's called a chocolate chip cookie. Like they call those cookies. But all other types of cookies are called biscuits.
Why they got to single out the chocolate cookie?
I have no idea, but I thought that was really interesting. But I don't think they had the conversation about what they actually call biscuits, in America. Like what do they call them in Europe, in England or Australia? Because they are the two with very similar words. And Canada and the United States are more similar in words, even though Canada has more British terms than American terms.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. They still have some time to decide when's the coronation.
May 2nd or something like that.
May, yeah. And I would see, and that's me being on my petty, because I would probably go just to piss Camilla off, because she don't want them to show up.
Of course not. And Kate don't want it either.
Nah, but and if they were smart, they would have. If they were smart, they would have. Thank you. If they were smart, they would have teamed up, because once Camilla actually becomes queen, not the queen consort, not any secondary, but full on queen, oh, she is gonna be. Y'all thought she was a pill. Now she is gonna be like too much. You won't be able to tell her nothing.
Don't you think she put in the work though? Like, I mean, granted, not the best personality, but like I look at this woman and deep, deep, deep within my soul, what I think about is you fell in love with a man who was the prince next in line for the throne. And because you had been married and you had been divorced, you were not allowed to marry this man that you loved. And then from there, he was forced to marry a much younger woman from you, okay, in your face. And then you spent decades being basically his mistress. Like, that's a tough mental life to live on. You were secondhand, baby, from the jump. Like, you used to be first, and then you were thrown to the side, and you ain't never been first since. I'm sure she looking at it and be like, yes, bitch, this is mine. Finally, I put in the work for this shit. I stuck out with this man for years. Yeah, I deserve to be queen. That's probably her mindset.
She is. But baby, the shit you did to the beloved woman is, and I mean, those are choices that she made, and she knew, again, and I look at it, every turn that you had to modernize that institution, they have failed. They have dropped the ball by being such traditionalists. Like, everything needs to change with the times, even that whole institution. And so I don't know. But I understand what you're saying, but I just don't, like, she's not, she's going to be the queen, but she's just not the best person. Okay, so switching gears to sports. It's March Madness. Yay. It's officially underway, and it has not disappointed. I'm not even going to disappoint myself and ask if you've watched any of the games. I'm just going to say go Cougs. We play tonight with the chance to go into the Sweet 16. So, and our road back home to the Final Four, because again, the Final Four is going to be held in the H this year, Houston, Texas. So it would be great if we could make it all the way to the Final Four and hang the banner in our hometown this year. Yeah, so I would challenge you to watch a game, but again, I'm not going to waste my time.
Not gonna happen. Don't waste your breath.
I'm not. I'm just going to say that, but it has been some really, really great games.
Sports.
And the spoiler, the Cinderella so far has been Farley Dickinson from around your way in the Jersey Swamps. They beat the number one team in Purdue, so you know they might be that Cinderella story. I know. I'm just saying, you know, just trying to make it relatable to you. I got you.
Relatable. Sports is sports.
And it's so great. Like, it is really, really great. And you know what? And I get it, because people who don't love sports probably don't understand us who do. But I'm like, how do y'all not?
I understand. It's people who love sports don't understand how people who cannot love sports. And I'm just like,
I respect it, but I don't understand it. I'm just like, what?
It's not entertaining at all to me whatsoever. God. I mean, joy to y'all for finding that, you know, shtick that y'all love so much, but that shtick is not for me.
Okay. Well, maybe this one will kind of like, the girls basketball team, there's a girls basketball team, like an AAU team in Alabama, and they were forced to play in the boys league. They didn't say they wanted to play in the boys league, but in order to continue their season and be able to play, I guess there weren't enough girls signed up in their league. They forced them into the boys league, right? So the girls go into the league. They reluctantly, because they want to play. They want to ball. They want to hoop. So they go and they eat up the league. They run this league. They win the championship of this league against all these boys. And guess what happens?
What?
They are denied their championship. Huh?
Because they're girls?
They were girls because they were playing in the wrong league. So you forced them into a league that they did not want to play in. It's not like they said, hey, we should be able to play in this league because we're just as good as boys. No, they forced them into this league. So when the girls come in and they run this league and they beat everybody and they rightfully earn the championship, they are denied the championship.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
They weren't forced to play in the league. They had a choice. And they chose to play in the league rather than giving up their season, which was a choice. The coach was informed at the beginning that they were not going to get a trophy no matter what position they came in. So he set those girls up for failure and for heartache. Or he or
not fair.
I don't know who the coach was, if it was a male or a female.
Well,
not saying it's fair. I was playing devil's advocate on like the other side of, you know, I don't agree with it at all. And well, of course I can't agree with it. Too much of a feminist for that. But just playing like, you know, devil's advocate on they had a choice. They chose to still play. The coach was informed from the jump that even if they won, they weren't going to get any trophies because that was part of the rules. And they played anyway. They kicked the boys' ass and they didn't get their trophy.
And again, you need to modernize this. If you give, and here's the thing, if you give them the ultimatum, if you give them the choice, because it was an ultimatum, that's what it was. Either play with the boys or you don't play at all. And I'm sure they did not expect them to win or run the table like they did. But once they did, I still think you should have taken that out, because now at this point, they're competitors just like anybody else in this league. Did you give them special? I'm sure they didn't take it easy on them. You know, so they won it fair and square. So they deserve the trophy fair and square. Like I said, some rules are made to be broken and some are just stupid. They competed just like everyone else. They did not have an unfair advantage. So why not? They are the rightful winners. That's my feeling. The devil can go suck it on that one. um, and I get what you're saying, but still, I don't think he set them up for failure. I think, that's just knowing that, hey, they still know who the champs are, even if they don't get that little janky hardware. They know what they did. So more power to you girls. So did you hear about the coach? The former coach now at Texas Tech, saying these really,
Suspended.
huh? I'm sorry.
Suspended.
You thought he was what?
Just suspended.
I want to say I think he ended up being let go, or he resigned. Initially he was suspended, but I think as they did more of an investigation, I think he ended up either resigning or being let go, or he resigned before he was officially let go. I think that was the outcome of that because of what he said. And I guess in the course of the investigation, they found that it wasn't one of those heat of the moment type things. And he's had a long coaching history, but apparently this was a normal way in which he's spoken to players or talked about players. But it didn't go over too well this time. I guess he found the wrong one or the right one on the wrong day, and was reported for that. So, do you agree with the decision?
What? Is that a question?
What? Yeah, it is a question.
Honest question to a Black woman?
Huh?
That's an honest question to a Black woman?
It is an honest question.
Nah, I think you're playing games with that question, Eddie.
Why am I playing games with it?
If I think that the decision was that he was suspended indefinitely for his racial statements?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate now.
Okay, go ahead.
Or from the standpoint, do you think that white coaches get away with saying stuff that they shouldn't?
White people get away with saying stuff that they shouldn't all the time. Being a coach don't make no difference.
Okay. So you don't think so? Being a coach doesn't make any difference. But he was saying that, but his defense was he was quoting scripture in a private conversation about coaching and having a job and being coachable. So it wasn't racism. He was just quoting scripture.
About a job and use the term master slave. So you're saying that in a job, my supervisor is my master and I'm the slave, no matter my race? Because no matter how you cut that still don't sound right coming out of anybody's mouth for you to reference that I'm your boss, so I'm your master, you're my slave. Like, no, boo-boo. You pay me for the job that I do. At any point, I could walk away from that job. So, no.
Okay, so part of it was, guys, we got to stick together. We need both feet in. I need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anybody with the plantation.
Well, that was the other coach back. Oh my gosh. When I read the story, it was the one from a couple years ago where he said, like, I need everybody to stay on the plantation. Like, why would you use that reference? And now this coach is using the master slave and saying what was in the Bible. Like, I mean, an educated person would tell you, that's exactly the scriptures that they also use to justify slavery. So I don't know what we talking about here, y'all. Like that would be my response. Like, are you serious? Like, and then his defense was, well, it was a private conversation. Private or not, it was still inappropriate, especially speaking to a Black athlete that you have some authority over, like as a white man. Like it would just be automatic, certain things just to come out of your mouth. But like I said, it doesn't matter if they're a coach or not. I don't think necessarily that white coaches are getting away with stuff that white people in other professions aren't getting away with. Like I think it's just certain things are being said and they're justifying it by, oh, I was just saying it. Like, it don't matter what your profession is. Like, that kind of shit comes out of their mouths all the time, depending on depending on who the person is. I'm not saying all white people, but I'm sure there have been white people in other professions who have spoken in those languages as well, in that language as well.
Oh, I'm dead ass positive of it. It's just, but I guess my question is the climate really different to where, because again, this is not the first time he said something like this, and no one can ever convince me that it is. Okay. So what makes now different? And do you think it's really going to change? Like the next coach that comes in and says something, do you think it will make them think twice about saying those things?
They said it all the time. It's who you say it to. One Black person will just brush it off and just let it go because they may feel some type of way about how it could affect their future or whatever. And then another Black person to be like, oh, hell no, you did not just say that to me kind of thing. I'm telling somebody. So it just depends on who you're speaking to at what time on determining what the consequences for your speech is. There's a lot of things that, is said behind closed doors that we never, ever hear about. It's just who is the person that you are speaking to at that moment and how they react. The one that coach was talking to, he reacted in a way where he was just like, oh no, I'm telling somebody about this because that just don't sound right coming out your mouth. And that is how it's, made the news, is because the person he was speaking to did not accept whatever excuse that he was trying to throw out or how he was talking to him, because he was like, nah, I know better. And I know you shouldn't talk to me like that. There's other, people that I'm sure he's spoken to like that and isn't going to say anything because, they brush it off. It's kind of like, I look at these situations like the N-word, right? So it depends on, like any person, not just white people, but any other ethnicity, any other race, I said, does not have the authority to say that word. So I would be the wrong person to speak that word in front of, because I don't care who you are, I'm calling you out right then and there. But depending on who you speak to, some Black people brush it off. They shrug their shoulders. They don't make a big deal about it. They kind of like, like Carlton from Bel Air. We had that conversation when we reviewed the Bel Air season, how he brushed it off and he explained it away on allowing his friends to use that word when they were not Black. And so I look at it that way. It just depends on who you're speaking to. He spoke to the wrong person, and that's how it's made a spotlight. Not to say he ain't done it before, but this person wasn't willing to accept it. There's too many people that are willing to accept that kind of stuff and brush it off because they don't want to make a big deal about it and they don't want to bring attention to themselves. And that's the reason why people continue to speak certain ways that they know they shouldn't.
Yeah. And, so again, his quote, I said that in the Bible. Jesus talks about how we all have bosses and we all are servants. I was quoting the Bible about that. So that's his justification, right?
You ain't saying that about slavery.
But the Bible, slavery existed in the Bible, girl. I don't know why y'all so upset. Slavery was in the Bible. Okay, so then, but one of
New Testament too, but
and it wasn't racial, like But and then one of my coaches said it bothered the player. Adam said, and I explained to them that I didn't, and I explained to them. Okay, so so here it is. I explained it to them, but he didn't apologize because it came from the Bible. So even though, and that's just, and and you're right, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. And it's hard to play devil's advocate on something that blatant and that stupid, because to me, there is no both sides of that. There are both people on both. There are good people on both sides. When I hear that shit, Sometimes I think that's what people are trying to say. But and you're right. Like I said, he got the right one on the wrong day or whatever, because it's just like, if you, and I say this all the time, even if it wasn't something that he was trying to just be racist about, whatever it is, I don't care. If I say something to you and you tell me that it hurts your feelings, and even if that was never, and it's not my intent, so if it wasn't my intent, but if you bring it to me and you say, hey, that hurt my feelings, then all I can say is, you know what, I'm sorry, I was just joking, I didn't realize, or in this situation, this is the reference, this is what I was referring to, I didn't realize that it would come across that way, and I apologize, that was never my intent. Sometimes you just got to own up to it, because I can't control how you feel about stuff. But that was just, yeah. What were you going to say?
I say you better than me, because it depends on what it was.
Yeah, it depends. Someone says some shit like that, it's just like, but still, the fact that he's so proudly and blatantly saying, I explained it to them, like, okay, so now you doubling down on the racism, like you have to break it down and explain to the dummy what you were saying and where it came from, and that should be okay. Like, that should make it better.
Okay, so found it. I'm ready.
Okay.
So here it goes, right? So he explained it with saying that was never his intention. Now, if your feelings were hurt by that, but that wasn't my intention. So is it really my responsibility to apologize to you because you were hurt over something that I said, if I tell you that it was not my intention to have that come off in a racist or insensitive way? That's not my problem now. That's a you problem, not a me problem. So at the end of the day, I shouldn't have to apologize for something if I've explained to you that was never my intention. Why I gotta say sorry?
To show that you're at least a compassionate fucking human being. No, it wasn't my intention, but the damage is done. You still hurt them. It's like an accident. It's just like if I accidentally step on your foot, that was not my intention. You saw me trip over the dog, because my dog is everywhere. You saw me trip over my dog. Why the fuck should I have to apologize for stepping on your foot? It was an accident.
That's why people say when they step on your foot, right? They don't say, most people don't say, or what I've noticed is most people don't say, oh, I'm sorry, or I apologize. They say, my bad.
Right? Well, the same thing. Motherfucker could have said my bad. Shit.
That is the way.
Say something to acknowledge that your bitch ass was wrong.
So maybe if you just said, my bad, I didn't know you were going to take it that way. Maybe that would have went a long way. So I'm saying, dude, just come out and say my bad. Just say my bad. But then again, would they claim that he was trying to talk ethnic?
Well, he could have said my fault. That wasn't what I meant. Like, it's
right, that proper term.
Yeah, it's in the Bible, so but it's he motherfucker been around long enough to know you got a team full of black dudes. I mean, and having lived in Lubbock and West Texas when I first moved to Texas, I can attest that it is a different type of place. And so it's
Texas or
well, it's in the Panhandle, but yeah, they consider it.
Yeah, I don't know what the Panhandle is.
It's that top part of the state. That part that looks like the
is that the place, the Amarillo?
Yeah, it's not far from Amarillo, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, okay. So that's top corner north. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but so that's the part of the state that when most people think of Texas and they see tumbleweeds and dust storms, they have that shit in Texas. They have that shit there, like literally tumbleweeds rolling across the street and dust storms, and it's come a long way since I've been there. Like, I haven't been back to Lubbock since we moved, and that was when I was a kid. So, but yeah. I can attest, but he knows, and like I said, it's just a courtesy thing that may not have been your intent, but sometimes just acknowledging that you were wrong, like me just explaining, Tammy, it was a joke, get over it. That's what it seems like. Like, I told her it was a joke, well, it wasn't a fucking funny joke, but So speaking of this, kind of staying on the same thing, your boy Colin Kaepernick came out with a graphic novel, and it's basically about his childhood. And so, people are mad because he said that there are some incidents of racism with his parents. And I'm like, so I'm thinking, okay, did he just flat out call them racist? But then the things that they were talking about was the cornrow incident. I'm like, okay, so these motherfuckers never watched the show Calling in Black and White, because that whole situation was addressed in the show. When they told him to cut the braids because it made him look like a thug, or they weren't professional, and it was just like, really? And I was just like, y'all
graphic novel. I don't see this. Huh? I don't see the story. Like, it's because he got a graphic novel out, so they trying to find something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's just rehashing the same thing, because he said, that he addressed. He said there were racist moments with his parents. Oh, well, you were ungrateful that these white people took your ass in after your black dad, blah blah. Well, it was his other white mom, his white bio mom, who's the one who actually put him up for adoption. And then after he made something of himself, after he became a professional NFL player, came back and tried to get back in his life. And then after the whole thing with the kneeling, she wanted to go in on him. I'm like, really? So, but yeah, so it was just a whole big non-story again. I'm like, nothing that y'all are mentioning is new. He's talked about before. It was addressed in the show that I guess y'all claim to have watched, but you obviously didn't watch, because nothing that you're saying would be big news. So, it's all good. It's all good, I guess. But are you going to read the graphic novel? I kind of want to read it.
Nope.
You don't like graphic novels, though, do you?
No, they're like watching cartoons.
You don't like comic books either, do you?
Nope. Not now. Not as an adult. I read comic books when I was younger, but not as an adult.
I ask you that every time it comes up, and I don't know why. I think the answer changes. I think I just forget, because that's just a shock to my heart. It's like one of those little mini knives and cuts that you put in my heart. And so I try not to think about it.
Because I be saying some stuff to you, Eddie, and you be like, ooh, you must got a lot of nicks.
I do. I'm surprised I haven't bled out. Like, I probably need heart surgery, like to stitch it back up or something. Okay. So really quickly, are you a John Cena fan? Do you like John Cena? Is he a good actor to you?
No. We had this conversation when we talked about the last Fast movie, Fast and Furious.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's apparently okay with Vince McMahon coming back to the WWE after all the sexual misconduct allegations and charges and all that bullshit. And even after selling it out to the Saudis. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I'm like, Vince McMahon just turned out to be really, really slimy and sleazy. Like, I'm not saying this in light, but that is just the tip of the iceberg of just how morally bankrupt and decrepit he is. It's just like, really? And you're okay with that?
Mm-hmm. So, he is. He's wrestling. I didn't even know he was still wrestling.
I didn't know he was still wrestling either. I thought he had given it up when he became an actor.
And then you just go back at the beginning, where Rock will go back like every once in a while, to show his face where he got started. But I mean, I ain't know John Cena was all up for, like, I'm taking a championship. And I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, I didn't know. That check isn't as big as I thought it was.
Like, the residuals, that acting check, have the acting roles dried up? Like, what? Like, so you tell me something. I was this many minutes old. I was this many minutes old when I found out he was still wrestling. That just shows you how much time I put into wrestling. I used to be a big wrestling fan, though. I'm sure that shocks you when I was little.
No,
I loved it.
I was
like, my mom would take me to
wrestling events. I was all up in it.
I was up in it too. Even when I knew it was fake and stuff like that, I used to love it. And then I guess there's just one
I
of
love
those things
Stone
that,
Cold Steve Austin. That was my dude.
yes,
And The
yes,
Undertaker. Oh, I love The Undertaker.
yes,
China. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was a huge wrestling fan. Like in
yes.
middle school is where like me and my mom would watch wrestling all the time when I was in middle school. Like that was our thing. And then it kind of like changed. They changed the whole concept of it. It became too like it was always like acting to it, but like I felt like you could still believe like, oh, it's realistic, right? And then at some point, like it just changed where you was just like, oh, all this shit real fake. Like there's no realism in this anymore. And so yeah, but yeah, I used to be big on it. So I'm
Yeah.
not shocked. I loved wrestling when I was growing up too.
And then like every other, and then the WrestleManias used to be like a once every 2 year event. It was a big deal, kind of like the championship, like the Super Bowl. And then when you start having them like every week or every month or every other, as like it almost became like, I was like, well, it's like if you have, like I said, the Super Bowl every month, like then that would take that takes the luster off of it. It takes the importance or the significance off of it if every month they're playing for a Super Bowl and you're crowning a new Super Bowl champion. So it just became too much, and it just became like that was the one quote unquote sport I outgrew, and they knew it because it's kind of like KFC, how they don't say chicken anymore, but so they changed it. It wasn't wrestling anymore. It was entertainment now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but and that kind of like I've never just been all big on John Cena. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of his acting, but I like him. I respect him. He does a lot with charity and for kids and stuff like that. And he seems like a likable guy. But when you co-sign on shit like that, it kind of makes me think a little bit about your character. Because like we said, we've been saying there's a right and there's a wrong. And even if it's your friend, even if it's somebody that you like, you still got to be able to say, nah, dude, that shit's fucked up. That's just wrong, you know? But anyway, and like I said, the problems that he had with the WWE go beyond the sexual misconduct allegations and charges. It goes into like money laundering and tax evasion and just all this other shit, total mismanagement. So it's just a lot. Anyway, and how do I know that for someone who doesn't watch? Because I'm a news junkie. So, all right. Creed. Speaking of Creed earlier, it had the biggest or highest opening for any sports movie ever. Are you surprised?
I think the question is, do I care?
I'm going to go with, are you surprised?
Yes, I'm very surprised.
Okay, because I know you don't care. I know you don't care. I know you have no fucks to give about that. But, and so it ranks up there. Okay, I'm going to tell you where it goes in the sports movie pantheon. It's up there with Remember the Titans, dog.
I'm sorry?
It ranks up there to me with Remember the Titans. It's one that I could probably watch over and over again. I'll let you know when I actually add it to the collection how many times I go back and watch it. But Remember the Titans gets watched at least 4 times a year. That's like a seasonal movie. Like, it's spring. All right, it's time for Remember the Titans. It's football season. It's damn sure time for Remember the Titans.
Yeah, but Remember it's like a movie where I am completely shocked when I hear that someone has never in their life seen Remember the Titans. I'm saying you have not lived. You have not lived until you watched Remember the Titans. I will never have that feeling about Creed 3. And I loved Creed 3, and I'll never have that feeling about Creed 3, where I think everybody needs to watch it.
Well, see, it's just like, for me, and I agree with you, because whenever someone says they haven't watched Remember the Titans, oh, it's time to watch Remember the Titans. So, I'm always down to pull it out. Like, but Remember the Titans is one of my comfort movies. Like Bad Boy, the original Bad Boys is a comfort movie for me. And I know I'm weird like that. But yeah, I tell you, one of my friends called me up right now and they say, what you doing? I'm like watching the OG Bad Boys. They're like, oh shit, you had that bad of a day? Like, what's going on? You all right? They just know that's my comfort movie. Jason Statham, what you doing? Watching a Jason Statham movie. Have you seen it before? Nah. Oh, okay, because they know I watch anything Jason Statham. Now, if I tell them I'm having a Jason Statham marathon, oh shit, it's like that? Like, it just ranks up there in my comfort spot. So I'll hit you up. We'll revisit this once it comes out and it's actually in the collection, and I can just watch it anytime. We'll see how many times I've watched it. But I was glad that it had that. I didn't realize it had done that well. I knew it had done well, but it between domestic and international box office, it hit $100 million. And so now there is going to be a sequel series or Creed series of some sort coming to Amazon. I guess part of Michael B. Jordan's deal with Amazon. I'm not really sure. There haven't been a lot of details about how it would be continued. Maybe, we would get his daughter, her story. I think that would be really cool. We talked about that. And for that weekend, Jonathan Majors, for 2 weeks, he was in the highest grossing movies of the year so far, number 1 and number 2 with Ant-Man and Creed. So shout out to Jonathan Majors. And also it's been announced he's going to play Dennis Rodman in a movie about when Dennis Rodman was on one of his Vegas jaunts. So I'm looking forward to that. What about you?
Nope, but it's nice to hear that he's, going to be getting those types of roles.
Yeah, I mean, he's hella talented. So I'm thinking it's going to be the one. And again, I know you're not a sports fan, but I'm thinking it's the one where Jordan had to basically go and threaten Rodman to get his shit together and get back to the Bulls during the playoffs. Classic. But yeah, so I'm interested. I think that would be pretty cool. Quick note, Byron Allen and Tyra Perry are both in the running to purchase a majority stake of BET from Paramount, returning the network, if either one of them gets it, returning the network to majority Black ownership, which I think would be cool. But I don't know. Do you watch a lot of shows on BET? Do you watch anything on BET?
Nope.
Not even the BET Awards?
Nope.
Yeah, I can't, and it's a shame to say I can't really say the last time I've watched BET either, but I'm glad it's still there, and I think it would be cool to return it back to Black ownership, a majority Black owner, and hopefully they will turn the network around. Although it's obviously doing good, it's still there, but I don't know. I just haven't found any of the shows. I haven't watched any of the shows on BET. Although I did watch the New Edition miniseries when it was on BET. I'm not gonna lie, and I do watch the BET Awards. So, all right. Next, did you watch the Chris Rock show?
Nope.
Did you hear about the Chris Rock show?
Yes.
And did none of that? It didn't even make you want to tune into the last 10 minutes to watch it.
I wouldn't have watched it anyway, so it doesn't matter what he's talking about. Like, I'm not necessarily the biggest Chris Rock fan, or I don't really do stand-up like that. So while I heard about it and I heard, he's going to address the slap, I'm not going to watch it because I wasn't going to watch it before they said he was going to address the slap. So why would I turn my TV on to watch it now?
Okay. I watched, and I'm one of the people who I was really disappointed. You know me, and I have a fucked up sense of humor. I laugh at shit that I probably shouldn't laugh at, and I'm one of those who I even if a joke is offensive, I can laugh. I'll be one of those people like, damn, I'm going to hell. I'll probably pull out the rosary that I don't have because I'm not Catholic. And I'll do the 10 Hail Marys, and I'll be like, oh God, please forgive me. Don't strike me down for laughing at that. You've seen me do that. I laughed at the Chappelle show, even as controversial as it was. I understood what he was trying to say. And generally, even as problematic as he is, I've laughed at Chris Rock. I generally like his stand-up. I loved his last special, Tambourine. Thought it was funny. I did not laugh at this. Not at the Will and Jada stuff. I didn't laugh once. Even at the jokes that I thought, oh, okay, this is it. This is where I'm going to laugh. And I was prepared. I was prepared for him to go all in on Will Smith, and I was prepared for it to be funny. And because he has every right to speak his truth, and I just knew it was going to be And when it got to that point, all I could think is, thank God this is over. Like, this was an hour of my life that I wasted. Like, none of it was funny. And it all seemed like it was one big, and I guess maybe because to me, it seemed like it was all one big setup for that final 10-minute payoff. And even though he didn't address any of that until the last 10 minutes of the show, all the other jokes were not funny. And I'm like, there's a joke he told about, I guess, that he was saying about abortion, how he was pro-life, because, he's like, he wants his daughters to be able to have full autonomy over there. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is going somewhere. And then he was like, I think you should be able to murder babies. I think you should be able to murder them up until they're like 4 years old. And I'm just like, what? So it's just, it just was not, none of it was funny to me. And that was truly disappointing. Even the Will and Jada stuff, I was prepared to laugh at that. I just knew that shit was going to be funny. I was prepared for it to be funny, and it wasn't. And I was just like, I was disappointed, to be honest.
It was funny when I read it, though. I was cracking up when I read what he said. So maybe I don't need to watch it. I just need to read it.
Maybe, but it wasn't funny to me. Like, it wasn't. And I was just like, okay. And like I said, not even that, it wasn't even just that part alone. None of the special was funny to me. Like, I didn't laugh once. And for me to laugh at just about anything, that's bad. And like I said, I can't even say because it was Chris Rock, because generally I am a Chris Rock fan. I laughed at his stand-up. Like, I loved Tambourine. And the whole time I kept thinking, well, damn, maybe I just need to go back and rewatch Tambourine. Like, I've laughed at all of his shit. Even when he was talking, way back when he was talking about OJ, I laughed. It's like, okay. So, I don't know. And like I said, it just seemed like the whole show was gearing up. You could tell it was in preparation for that one thing, for that one final punchline that didn't really pay off. And I was just like, okay. And it's like, why are you bringing her into this when she really had nothing to do with it? She didn't tell him to go slap you. She didn't say anything about you, So it just wasn't funny to me. But so maybe the next one will be funnier. I should hope. But Netflix, they got their money's worth. It's been sitting in the top 10. I think since it debuted or since it came out, and it was live and all of that. So we'll see. Did you watch the Oscars? That was my obligatory ask.
No, but I read the stories and listened to the commentary about it.
You sound disappointed.
No. I'm actually very happy with how it turned out. I thought they got it right this year. I was a little disappointed in one award that they didn't win, but overall, like, I thought it was good on who ultimately won the big awards.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No. Yeah. I did want to see it, though. I just never made it to the theater to watch it, but it was on my list just because I love Michelle Yeoh. Like, I think she's absolutely phenomenal, and she's just getting better and better with age. And I just haven't made it. But when I first saw the trailer, I was very excited about it. So I know at some point I'm going to sit down and watch it. But I haven't seen it yet. No.
That should be the Oscar movie that we review this year. Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I want to say it's on Paramount or Peacock. Huh?
We review an Oscar movie every year?
We have. You just don't know it. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I have to sneak them in there on you. But it Everything Everywhere All at Once is a mouthful, but it's really good. I'm just going to tell you right now, don't try to follow it as far as it making sense. It's just one of those movies where you just have to let it absorb you and just take it for what it is, because if you just try to make it make sense, you're going to give yourself a headache. It's kind of like red pill, blue pill.
Watch multiple times to fully get the gist of it.
Yeah. Or high, and since I know you don't partake in gummies and those specialized cupcakes and stuff like that, Yeah, just take it for what it is. But I agree with you. I'm glad that it won. I can't say that I'm disappointed that Brendan Fraser won. I knew that he would win for The Whale. I haven't seen The Whale yet personally, so I can't say. I can honestly say, since COVID has fucked everything up and still blaming COVID, it's just weird to catch the movies like I used to. I would always, when AMC just had those 2 days of just nothing but Oscar movies, and now it's kind of hard to catch that. I would always catch them at that point. So it's been a little harder for me to keep up with all the Oscars and performances. But just looking at the previous award shows, I kind of knew after I think it was the Golden Globes, he pretty much won everything else. So, and plus he did win at the Golden Globes because I think at the Golden Globes, Elvis was in the musical comedy category, and that's how Austin Butler won that. And then everywhere else, all the other award shows, they combine the categories. They don't separate them like that. And he cleaned up. So I have to see The Whale, but I heard his performance was really good, and I'm happy for him. Someone who's been around and who nearly quit and was disillusioned, kind of like my boy Key. He will forever be shortstop to me from the Indiana Jones movies. But the elephant in the room, Angela Bassett. If she was going to lose, it should have been to Stephanie Sue. For Everything Everywhere All at Once. Even though Jamie Lee Curtis won, and she's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, I love Jamie Lee Curtis, love her. This is one of those times where I could say they got it wrong. And so to me, that was Angela Bassett's competition in this category was Stephanie, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Sue, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But other than that, I'm with you. I didn't watch the ceremony myself. I went back and I watched, parts of it and stuff like that. But I was like, okay. And then I taped it, but I just didn't go back and watch it. And I was like, yeah, everybody won that I expected to win or wanted to win, except for that one category. So that's the category you were talking about where you said you were a bit disappointed.
Oh, I was talking about Austin Butler.
Huh?
I was talking about
you're talking about Austin Butler?
Because I thought he was phenomenal. He fully embodied, and it's so hard to do biopics, and he fully embodied Elvis. Like, you couldn't tell where Elvis stopped and Austin Butler began. And I like the fact that he showed, like, he was disappointed. He was disappointed that he lost. But I think ultimately, Elvis came out in July, and as humans now, we have early fatigue. So it's kind of like, I feel sometimes the closer you come out for Oscar season, the better chance you have because you're more fresh in people's minds. And not to say Brendan Fraser, I mean, I'm never going to see The Whale, but I heard he was absolutely phenomenal in it. It's just, I was just really rooting for Austin Butler to win an Oscar. And I say this is one of the times where I feel it's an amazing honor to be nominated, because from here on out, you can be referred to as an Oscar nominated or Academy Award nominated actor. And that is definitely an achievement for him at such a young age. I think that's just phenomenal. And I just hope that he gets another chance to show what an amazing actor he's turned into, being that he was a child actor. He just did a phenomenal job. So I'm just hoping that this is not the end where he kind of goes back into obscurity, but that he continues to get amazing roles that shows his acting chops and continues to grow his talent from here, rather than how sometimes people kind of like go back into the background in a way when they're at such a young age. But I'm just hoping that his career continues to grow.
I hope so too. I don't see him, whose career I see him kind of having. I see him kind of having a Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh God, thank you. I thought, somebody else put my head, and I said, please don't say it. Please don't say it. But okay, cool.
Don't say what?
Huh?
Don't say
No,
who.
I'm not even gonna put it into the air. I'm not gonna put it into the air because it just scared me. I'm not even putting it into the air. But I'll roll with the Leo. I'll roll with the Leo. Go
I
ahead.
see him having a Leo career where Leo has
Not
never.
dating style, but career. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna leave his dating life out of it, but um, his the type of career where Leo has never just gone out and sought a blockbuster. The biggest movie he's ever been in was Titanic. I think the second biggest was probably Django Unchained. Um, but he has done these more or less mid-range to indie films that have just been hits because of him. Or having that, like, he's never just gone out and done that cop action buddy mainstream flick. I don't know if anyone's ever heard him talk about superhero movies. He hasn't done a rom-com. So, I see him having that type of career. And as talented as an actor as Leo is, I would love to see him kind of do a comedy, like not take himself so seriously professionally. I think he's earned that. Not saying that I would want to see him in a Marvel or DC movie, but I would love to see him in a comedy, like a smart comedy or something like that. I think he would kill it. I think the closest he's come is when he did a cameo when Jonah Hill was hosting a Saturday Night Live, or The Wolf of Wall Street, which is considered, I guess, to be a comedy, although it's a dark comedy. But yeah, so I see him kind of having that where I don't see him just going to do all of a sudden these big, major, just tentpole blockbuster movies. But yeah, so he's even when he was a younger actor, the roles that he took were more not of the mainstream. They were a little bit more the kind of the indie show, the show that he did about the elves that they shot in New Zealand. I think it was on MTV when they were doing TV shows. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, so like I said, I knew it was going to come down to two people for that category, him or Brendan Fraser. But just looking at the way the rest of the awards had gone, I pretty much knew Brendan Fraser was going to get it. Like I said, Angela, not taking away from Jamie Lee Curtis, but I think this was a career achievement because her role, she wasn't even in Everything Everywhere All at Once very long. If it was going to go to anyone from that movie and anyone other than Angela Bassett, because her performance in Black Panther was phenomenal, then I thought it would have been Stephanie Sue. Like, I was fully prepared for her to lose out to Stephanie Sue. And again, I hope I'm saying her name right for that movie. But, we will see. And yeah, I hope it is an honor to be nominated because it is one of those things. But sometimes they get it wrong. And I think this is one of the years where they got it wrong. So not the entire.
It was Angela's award to lose. Like, I think when I listen to people talk about it, about her not winning, a lot of people have this mindset, oh, it was her award to lose. I honestly don't think that. Like, and I could be in the minority, and that's okay. But I don't think it was necessarily her award to lose. I think based on her career, that we would have loved it. I would have enjoyed it if she would have won, because she's a phenomenal actress, and just her the roles that she's played in her career have just been phenomenal. And we always go back to What's Love Got to Do with It, and her playing Tina Turner, just how phenomenal she was in that role. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this was necessarily her award to lose. And I don't know, like I just don't feel like okay with the fact that, like, people are making it like, oh, this was hers. Not saying you are. I'm just saying in general, just on the conversations I've had on this was hers. How they not gonna give it to her? And I'm just like, was it really hers though? Like, did y'all watch any of the other movies to know that it? Or is it because she's a Black woman and so we want to celebrate that? So, you know, we're angry at the fact that the Black woman didn't get it, but was she the best in the category? And, you know, that's just my opinion.
Like I said, to me, it was between her and Stephanie Sue. And so I feel like, again, I love Jamie Lee Curtis, love her as an actress, love her as an ally for all things. Love how outspoken she is. Just, I love her. But again, the award wasn't hers to win. To me, it should have gone to one of the two ladies who I mentioned previously. And that's just based on seeing those performances. So yeah, but you know, hopefully one day you never know what happens. But yeah, I'm with you. I think overall it is an honor to be nominated for an Oscar, even if you don't, because only one person is going to win. So there's always going to be someone disappointed. And I think that, you know, again, for the most part, they got it right. Especially after you read some of those anonymous ballots, and the one actor who was just down on all the Black women, and he hadn't even seen the Warrior Queen and none of that. So, but yeah, and you know, like you said, it was okay. And the thing that got me was it was okay for Austin Butler to show his disappointment, but Angela Bassett got dragged for showing hers. You know, they tried to drag, and I'm like, she was disappointed. She has the right to show that she's disappointed. She has the right in that moment to be disappointed. You know, it doesn't take anything away from her. She's a human being. So, but I do love. Did you see her? Because she and Austin Butler were sitting next to each other. So when they were announcing his category, she took and she held his hand through the nerves and stuff like that. So, but you know, one last thing. Batfleck is done with the DC. So after the Flash, he will no longer be playing Batman officially. Not like that's a big surprise, but there was an interview in the Hollywood Reporter, and I know everyone was excited about the Batman movie he was supposed to direct and what happened to it. And basically, he said it was his experience on Justice League under Joss Whedon that just ruined all of it for him. And he was like, once he was done with that, he was done. Like he said, he was drinking so much while he was in London. He was like, it was either drink or jump out the window. And I'm like, God damn. And that's really the first time you've heard him speak out on that situation with Joss Whedon and just how fucking toxic it truly was. So, you know, and I love Batfleck. So we will see. You have some news about ReWine catching us up from last week. What is it? That was the Korean actor who tested positive for every drug under the sun.
One of the biggest like it's actually called the Korean Broadcasting Station.
KBS.
I'm sorry?
Is that KBS?
Yes, KBS. And so, you know, it would be like our ABC, okay, the American Broadcasting channel. So they have banned him from appearing on any program on their channel. No matter if it's like an interview or a TV show, because they do TV shows as well. Like I said, it's like ABC. Now, granted, nobody's surprised about that because in Korea, they're way more harsher when it comes to drug offenses. But just kind of like looking at the background and really diving more into this, just because I find it very interesting because they are more strict about drug offenses. Because for us, we'd shrug our shoulders and keep it moving, right? We'd be like, all right, so we still watching that show next week, right? But in Korea, it's a different story. And, you know, just seeing as how it's kind of like world domination, I think, in a way, when it comes to the entertainment industry. And but in addition to that, they said it was a long time sting, which is what I thought. They did not target him directly. Like, it wasn't like they were going after him. It just happened to be that he was in the mix of the big sting that they were doing, cracking down on drug offenses in the country, and he just got caught in that. And what they're saying is that he is cooperating, so they haven't actually like arrested him or anything like that. They do have like the test results, but they haven't arrested him. And from rumor is that he is cooperating, you know, because they caught his doctor, who they've been watching for a while as well. And all the other people that was all up in that like drug business that was going on. So it's way bigger than people think it is, who are talking but not really researching on what the background is. But yeah, so he's banned from that, and Netflix has already replaced him in one of his movies, one of his TV shows, sorry, Hellbound. It came out last year. He was the lead in the first season. He has already been replaced with another actor for season 2. So that's one show that he's lost.
Yeah, I kind of understand the show must go on. And again, I have not changed my mindset. It's obvious, and I get it. Drug use is illegal, but again, it's illegal in most places. But the way we criminalize, especially since he did not commit a crime, and I know I realize what I just said, but you know what I mean by crime, robbing somebody like that. I hate how we in the world tend to criminalize addicts, especially in the process of not when there hasn't been a more major or serious crime committed in the commission of trying to get those drugs. And when they were saying, and I haven't kept up with it because I don't keep up with the Korean entertainment news as much as you do, but when they said propofol was involved, I'm like, oh, they should be going after the doctors, because you know there's no way you can get propofol without having a doctor administer it, because it's an anesthesia. It's what they use to put you under for anesthesia. But I go back to, I hope that he gets help, and I think that KBS, and I get it's the seriousness of it, but I hope I think KBS took it too far. For the show to go on and for him to lose some roles now, so he gets the help that he obviously needs, then yeah, okay, it doesn't wait. Netflix has to do what they have to do, recast the role. KBS. But to say that he's never allowed back on your network, that's a step too far. That's just punishing him, because it is a disease, it's an illness. And again, at this point, the only person he really hurt is himself, unless you can tell me that he committed another crime in the commission of his drug use. So my mindset hasn't changed, and I feel that way about anybody, celebrity or not. We need to do more with actually helping and rehabilitating those that have addictions, rather than criminalizing and penalizing them, especially if the addiction is the only crime. If that makes sense. So I hope he gets better, and I hope that he is allowed a second chance, considering, we want to give people like Vince McMahon second chances, and you have athletes who have a whole slew of women come out against them, and we reward them with $230 million contracts, so but yeah. All right, turning to music. Hybe and SM settled their differences. I cannot pronounce it. Kakao will be taking over SM as the majority shareholder. I don't know if Hybe's getting rid of its 15% or what happened, but I do know that, I guess they realized, and Kakao actually outdid Hybe for like 35% of the company. So that has been settled. Now to the big Hybe news. Jimin, pre-release song, Set Me Free Part 2. I'm going to let you have it.
No, I'm going to let you have it, because I already told you my opinion offline. So what you think of that single, Eddie?
It took me a moment to figure it out. And the video, I watched it, I listened to it, and I watched the video at the same time. And the video didn't do much for me. So after I just pulled up the lyrics and I listened to the song, I understand what he's trying to say. I'm not crazy about the auto-tune part, but I do like that he's experimenting with his sound. I love that he raps in the beginning. I love the lyrics. I love the chances that he's taking. Agree or disagree. I love that we're seeing different sides to them, to who they are individually as artists outside of BTS. And I commend him for not playing it safe and going with a filter sound or a live sound, or what was his other really popular song? Live filter. Gosh, was it live? There was another one he had that was really his other. But so I love that. You know, we're seeing who Jimin is, who Jimin the artist is individually as part apart from BTS. So it's a song that I admit when I first heard it, I was like, the fuck? And then I just had to stop and strip it down and take it off and, you know, and just go and listen to what he's trying to say. So it's going to be interesting to see him perform it. Or by next week, his actual lead single will be released, because he's going to be on Fallon on the 23rd. He's going to be just talking. It's the interview. And then on the 24th is going to be the performance. So he's going to be on Fallon 2 nights. So it'll be interesting to hear the live versions of the songs that he does. And I'm interested. It hasn't changed my mind or my optimism about the album. I am still optimistic, and I am looking forward to the album, because, like I said, I'm not putting it out there saying I'm just going to love the album, but I am interested to see what it sounds like, and interested to know about who Jimin is, the artist, outside of Jimin in BTS, in the role that he plays in BTS. Okay, it's all you need.
On the other side, I'm just going to say Jimin should be extremely happy that he is part of BTS, and they could put out chicken shit and it will sell and it will debut at #1 in hundreds of countries.
Over 110 countries.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, live on that ride. Live on that ride. Okay, you need to live on that ride, because I look at it as in, if it was anybody else but Jimin who put out this single, it would be trash. I don't care what nobody says. It would be trash. People would be listening to it, but it wouldn't be huge where it's debuting. Because, like, people were like, oh, but it debuted in 110 countries, so, you know, it's got to be good. No, it don't have to be good. He's BTS. Like, he's Jimin from BTS, the biggest group in the world. It don't matter what you put out. It's going to sell, because their fans are loyal. The auto-tune kills it. Like, I was just like, Jimin, granted, he doesn't have the strongest vocals. And I've always said that. Out of the 4 vocalists in the group, he has the weakest vocals. But I have still enjoyed his singles that he's put out. He played to his strengths of his vocals. Every single time he played to his strengths. So when he performs the song, he still performs the song where you can still hear, like, that's Jimin, like that. It sounds how it was on the album. He makes it his own. How are you going to perform a song that you auto-tune throughout? Like, I'm like, when you perform it, you lip sync it, right? Like, it's about the dancing, because then I had to watch the dance practice video to be like, okay. And that was too much. I thought it was over dramatic. It was too theatrical on even the practice performance, kind of showing what it would be like when he actually performs it. But it was too auto-tuned. It's too auto-tuned. And I feel like, is this really Jimin as an artist, or is this the image that he's going to be putting out? Is this the image that he's going to be selling? Because the more I get into Korean culture, the more you realize that everything they do is an image, and it's what they tell you. They're going to say, oh, this is really me. Is it really though? Is it really? But yeah, it's too auto-tuned. I went back. Let me tell you how much I didn't like this single, if you haven't noticed already. I went back and I listened to Vibe again, and I put it on my playlist. I put Vibe with Taeyang on my playlist. And I wasn't really feeling that necessarily. But when I compare it to this single, I'll take Vibe. I went and I listened to his other singles and I was just like, okay, like this is what he's missing. Like it doesn't show his talent. I'm sorry. Like I don't think this single shows his true talent. He's a very, very talented person and it doesn't show his true talent. It's just, yeah, it's too much. Like you're doing too much. But anyway, moving on.
I agree with you on the auto tune. And I think this was more of one of the.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it was more of a dance single, so that's why I had to go back and look at the words and see what he was saying in the words, and that made me understand and like the song more. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was my favorite song ever because it's not. But I don't think it's straight trash like you do. I understand how BTS works, and I understand why it debuted at #1 at 110 countries. Army is hella loyal, and they are going to do what they can, even if it's for a day, even if it's for an hour. If they can get BTS to set another record, any member of BTS, they are going to do that. So I get that. I'm not going to say, oh, it's great because it debuted at #1 in 110 countries and it was the fastest song by a Korean artist to do so. Don't be that naive, okay? But I will say that, like I said, it has me intrigued. I don't think, or at least I'm hoping that they would not auto-tune the rest of the album because his vocals have improved. You could tell that he finally started taking the voice lessons seriously, and his vocals have improved. And I've agreed with you. We both said that he was probably the weakest of those in the vocal line. So I am looking forward to what the rest is, but just seeing what it was, and if this is the image that he wants to portray, I understand what he's trying to say, in the video, because it shocks me when they start cussing. I'm like, oh, these are grown men and they cussing. And he freed the nipple, girl. I know you didn't get that far into the video, but he had, he didn't take off the whole jacket, but there's a scene where the second part of the video, he's just in the jacket and then his whole upper body is just tattooed. They're just like words tattooed across the body. And I'm sure there's some eagle-eyed army who stopped the video, zoomed in, and can probably tell you what every one of those words say because that's just army. And someone out there has done that. But so I'm just like, okay, it's interesting to see them on their grown and sexy and their individuality and who they are, who they want to be as artists. And so I'm going to reserve judgment, my full judgment until I hear the entire album. So speaking of which, Kai Rover, his third mini CD, what'd you think?
Yes and no. It's very Kai. I will say that it is his sound. So when I listened to the album, I could definitely tell, like, okay, this is Kai. Like, this is his sound. This is, the direction that he started in. And, he's staying in his lane on what works for him. Rover took me a couple listens before I really started to appreciate it. Because I really didn't at the beginning. But it did take me a couple listens before I started to actually appreciate Rover and the rest of the album. Like I had to listen to the album a couple times. But it's not like my favorite album that he's come out with. But at the same time, like there's two songs that I actually really, really enjoy. So he's still doing it for me. Kai's still rocking it. Okay. He's still putting out music that I love and that I like and I can enjoy.
What are your songs?
So I love from the first time I heard it, I automatically added it to my playlist and Say You Love Me, which is the last song on the album. I really, really love that. That gave me the vibe of his first single that he released for his other albums. That's the kind of vibe. Like I was just like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. Why you wait till the end of the album to put this on? And then another one that crept up on me on how much I'm enjoying it is Sinner. So those two, I really enjoyed it. And Rover, like I said, it took a couple listens, but and seeing him perform it, like I was just like, he's such a performer. Like, I love that. Like, I was just like, Kai is a performer. So necessary, like, I feel like if he performed all the songs on his album, I probably fall in love with all of them because he just got stage presence. Like, he controls a whole entire stage on his own.
Yeah, I agree. I went with I can't disagree with anything you said. It took me. It wasn't like and Peaches, which I automatically loved, and those two for me are no skips. Like I love his first mini album. I love his second mini album. That's what actually made me a fan of Kai because and then it kind of got me into EXO. I knew who he was through Super M and all that, but it's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then my boy Bacon can't have a Kai or EXO reference without Bacon. But so I am with you. This one was a bit disappointing, and it took me a few listens before I could just really get into it. And I thought, and it wasn't one of those, okay, I'm not in the mood to like listen to this right now. I was prepared. I knew that I was going in listening to Kai, and I was like, oh, and the first listen wasn't anything really truly memorable. I think maybe Say You Love Me, and at the time I didn't know the song. Like, okay, I like that one song, let me go back again. And so I'm still trying to figure it out, but Say You Love Me and Sinner are the two that that grab me each time. But it's not, I don't like it as much as I like his first two. And it's okay. Everyone's entitled to a hit and a miss, but this one is more miss for me than hit at the moment. And who knows, it might be one of those things by the time we talk about it again, get to our K-pop review, I'll be like, hey, remember what I said about Rover? It's now one of my favorites. But at this point, it's like, oh, okay.
Well, Super Impulse will be coming back out, so we'll see.
I need an EXO. I need my boy Bacon to release something, even if it's a song, even if it's a oh god, it sounds better than that.
He's working on that right now.
I know, but I'm impatient. I've waited 2 years, damn it. I need bacon. Okay. I need some bacon in my life.
Bacon in my life. Okay.
To go with this excellent. Never mind.
Moving on.
Don't hate. Don't hate. You wish you were this talented.
No, keep it bacon. Do your bacon.
To go with my eggs, because he excellent. Never gets old. Okay. 17. Although it sounds like I'm cackling. I've never laughed like that in my life. Oh God. Okay. 17 is having a comeback in April. I know you were excited about that. They are like your number one, number two.
They moved up on my list every single time. They've moved up to the point where I'm going back old school and I'm listening to like songs that they first came out with. And I did that with BTS. When I got into the rabbit hole, it was all about like the latest album, which was the 7. Oh, shoot.
Map of the Soul 7?
Yes. I was just like, oh my God, like I just remember the 7. Map of the Soul 7 was like the album. And I started listening to it, fell in love with it, and then slowly went back to listening to the old stuff, and then fell in love with like their older songs, which is some of my favorites. And so knowing that I'm like completely in it for 17 now, because I'm now listening to like their older songs and loving them and watching their older performances. So yeah, I'm all in. I'm so excited to see what they come out with in April.
Okay. I'm excited too. They almost lost me. With the album.
Let's not talk about old. Why are we talking about the past? Let's talk about the present.
Like, why am I bringing up old shit with the album? Yeah, so that I don't remember the name. But yeah. So I'm a huge 17 fan, and I don't know all their names. I'm not even going to sit there and try to learn all their names, but I know Vernon, I know some of them, and I'm a huge fan. So I am looking forward to their April comeback. It may it be ever so great. All right. Got anything else before we get to the palate cleanser?
No, what's your palate cleanser, Eddie?
Okay, so it's trailer season. I'm really, 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 really excited for the trailer. It's getting a different type of remake. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you see the trailer?
Absolutely not.
You don't like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Not a fan.
Oh my God, Michelangelo, the orange one is the best. Like I
Is it
love
the orange one?
Yeah, orange, red, purple, and blue. They're named after like the great Renaissance artists.
I don't know what my mind is because I was like, why didn't I think there was a green one? But they're green already, so why would they? You right. Okay.
Oh my God, like love Ninja Turtles, love them. Will always love them, and will watch any movie. I even watched the Stephen Amell Megan Fox movie. It was not great. I'm not gonna lie, but I still love the Ninja Turtles. So this one is getting like is going back being animated, produced by Seth Rogen. So excited. You gonna watch it?
No, that was Jonah. That was Jonah Hill. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So now, also on trailer, the Little Mermaid trailer, the full Little Mermaid trailer was released. And may I say, they did a much better editing job than that trailer, than the teaser trailer that had her looking like 50 Shades of Ghost.
With the wrong makeup on?
Yeah. So I was gonna watch it anyway, just because, but the trailer actually made it, even though it didn't show a whole lot, it made it seem more interesting. It actually garnered some legitimate interest. What'd you think? Did you watch it yet?
I watched it. I definitely did. I watched it after it was announced that they premiered it at the Oscars. And I was like, oh shoot, I didn't watch the Oscars, so let me go to my favorite channel. And what I will say is I like Disney live actions because it makes it that the same movies that I watched when I was a kid that were like some of my favorite movies that I really, really loved. The live action, it just brings back that excitement of when I was a kid and Disney was bringing out all of these movies, these animated movies that I used to drag my people to the movies all the time to see. But I will say that I feel like The Little Mermaid is going to be more childlike than previous live actions. Like, of course, all the live actions, you take your kids to see it, yes. But there was still like, I felt like I could still be nostalgic, but also enjoy it as an adult. And looking at the trailer, like I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'm definitely gonna watch it because it is The Little Mermaid. And it was one of my favorite movies of all time when I was growing up. But at the same time, I don't know if the excitement is necessarily there with a full trailer. Like I think that it's the same feeling that I had before the full trailer came out. I'll keep my, I'll keep my opinion open. See what they put out, but I don't know. The excitement has grown. It's the same level that it was before I watched the trailer, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. See, and I guess because I hate The Little Mermaid. When I was babysitting a kid that I was babysitting, you know how kids are. They get stuck on something and want to watch it over and over. So I had to watch The Little Mermaid over and over, the cartoon version, and I came to despise that movie. Like, I think I hated it so much, I think I actually broke it on purpose. And then their mother went out and bought another one, and I was like, the fuck? You've got to be kidding me.
I would be that would have been me. I would have been that kid because I used to watch it all that and The Lion King over and like back to back.
Yes. Back to back, like all day. Like I could sit that kid in front of The Little Mermaid at 8:00 and they would just go back and watch it again until 8:00 at night. And I'm like, the fuck.
The song, it makes you like anyway, but it's I get it though. You were traumatized.
Yeah, so but like I said, even though it didn't show much, and then the one part that got me is, you know how I feel about musicals, so I'm like, fuck, I'm not. But the singing, I was like, okay, so I know what it is going into it, and I'm like, but I love the visuals. The visuals looked better than they did in the teaser trailer, I guess, because they now have everything together, obviously. So So it did generate a legitimate interest as where I can say I want to see it more so than just for uh Halle Bailey being the first black Little Mermaid or the Black Little Mermaid. I'm actually interested to see the story that it tells and how it's different from the cartoon and stuff like that. So it held some legit interest there. That's really it for the palate cleanser. We don't have to talk about the lady who couldn't define woke, even though she wrote a whole book about how woke is destroying the culture and all that kind of stuff. So you got anything else? You got a palate cleanser?
Oh no.
Under the sea. Now you got me singing Little Mermaid songs off key, off beat, all of it, just off. I would do a play or a movie if I could sing about someone who couldn't sing, then I'm your person. So if anyone is out there looking for someone to do a movie or a musical about the worst singer in the world, but the key is they can't get better. They always have to be off key and off beat, and they don't know how bad they are. I am your person. I'm it. What?
I don't even know what to say to that.
I just got. Well, first of all, I'm very realistic, and I realize the limits of my talent. And
no, I'm on the fact to say you say, and they don't get better. Who's making a movie about a singer who was like the worst singer, but they don't get better? Like
at that point, it would be lip syncing. It wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be true to the game. Gotcha. I mean, unless you're gonna get the king of autotune Puppy to help me out like he did Total back in the '90s. Come on. Not bad.
Damn. What? Did you throw Total under the bus?
Duh, I did not throw Total under the bus. Everybody knew.
Y'all heard that.
Everybody knew, especially after that one episode of Showtime at the Apollo. Oh, it was obvious. Okay, come on now, Puff. I might need some auto-tune lessons. All right. Well, that does it for this episode of the. Oh, my bad. They from Jersey. I didn't show your homegirl.
Oh, I was about to say you can just call up Jimin because he did it so well in his song.
That does it for this episode of the ReWine. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you get your favorite podcasts where you listen. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at thepopcornwinedown.com. That's it. That's the plug. Pop it a pop, pop, pop. Thank you as always. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.